Hey guys, thanks for tuning into my live today. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. Some technical difficulties. I had some notes written up in my on my computer to kind of walk through this live, make sure I didn't miss anything basically, and the whole thing was gone. So had to find it. So we are going over volume eating today. So what kind of prompted me to want to do this is I honestly I haven't been on a cut in a while. So, thinking calorie restriction, lower calories, but I also have a really big appetite. So basically, I'm now tapping into everything that I used to do when I was dieting on how to eat more food, eat a higher volume of food when calories are low. Because that is something you really, really want to be mindful of when you're on a diet, is what you don't want to do. Hey girl. Hey Kels, nice to see you. Hi Ella. But basically, what you want to do is think about how to strategically space out your calories throughout the day or in a feeding window. If you're kind of restricting hours that you're eating, just so you don't blow through, 60% of your calories before 3 p.m. and then you're just hungry or hangry, if you're me, the rest of the day. That's not really helping anyone. So basically, what you want to think of if you're in a low calorie diet, and I don't ever recommend anyone going really low calorie without the help of someone supervising them, a professional who knows how to manage your calories and then dig you out of that deficit eventually. But if you're eating lower calorie, that instantly means your carbs are going to be lower, your fat's going to be lower, and protein's trying to stay high just so we're not losing any of your lean muscle tissue to help keep your metabolism going full speed. So basically, what you want to think of are ways to get more volume in your food without a ton of fat and carbs all in one meal. So instead of having, a big bowl of rice, a swap out would be cauliflower rice. Instead of having a big bowl of noodles, think pasta noodles or zoodles or spaghetti squash. You want to actually start making the bulk of your diet non-starchy vegetables. So potatoes don't go as far as carrots. Carrots don't go as far as, a spinach salad. So you want to start tapping into foods that give you a lot more food for a lot of volume, less calories. Like for example, fruit, you can have a lot of strawberries for a small portion of a banana. Bananas aren't bad, but if you are low calorie, you need to actually eat food that has some bulk to it just so you feel satisfied. So I want to break this into breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, dessert, and then we'll do some questions at the end if you guys have any specifics. So basically, for breakfast, when calories are low, a couple of my go-tos are going to be egg whites with cheese, or just scrambled eggs, and a huge thing of spinach sauteed down. And I love to combine that with garlic powder, a lot of salt, pepper, and even some chili powder or paprika or chipotle chili, whatever you have. So you have like a chipotle garlicky big blob of cooked spinach and some cheesy eggs for a great breakfast. Really low carb, fat's pretty moderate depending on how much cheese or whole eggs you use, but it keeps you going for a while because of the high protein content and some fat in there. Another one that you can do is like a protein smoothie or protein fluff. I know a few girls on here, Flexible Dieting for Life and Kelsey Fit, they both have really good protein fluff recipes that they make in a food processor. That's what I showed you guys this morning in my stories. I have a bunch of fluff recipes too that sometimes I just make in a blender if I don't want to dirty the food processor, because cleaning that's a lot more intensive. But you can make a really big smoothie using some non-dairy milk. I love vanilla cashew milk. Protein powder in there, put in some spinach, you really can't taste it, bunch of ice, you can throw in some, cauliflower, anything to bulk it up, and the protein powder is going to give it flavor, so you can't really taste the vegetables, but you just get a bunch of volume, again, without a ton of fat or carbs. You can also just do a small portion of oatmeal with a bunch of like ground up zucchini or yellow squash in there. Those are the zoats you see me talking about or other people posting about. You can do a smaller portion of oats and a higher portion of the squash or whatever vegetable you're using. Get a pretty big bowl for, again, not a huge calorie bomb. Sorry, water bottle attack right there. Whoop. Or something else, if you're a big bread eater, if you love toast in the morning, is, fry an egg or even chop up a hard-boiled egg and put it on a slice of toast, but be mindful of the bread you buy. if you look at the nutrition labels on different breads, I get a bread that's maybe 9 grams of carbs a slice. There are other breads that are upwards of 22 grams of carb per slice. So get the ones that are a little bit lighter, just so you can have more of them and feel like you're getting more bites of food and more bulk to keep you full longer. So those are some of my go-to breakfast options. Some of the lower calorie lunch options that's what I actually posted in my stories today. I'm a huge big salad person. That's literally in a serving size bowl. It's so big, but I just chop up spinach that has strawberries on there, goat cheese. Today's had grilled chicken and a hard-boiled egg, but the go-to is always just a bunch of spinach, maybe some romaine in there, strawberries, goat cheese, and grilled chicken. You can have a huge pile of that, again, for very low fat and carbohydrate content, and it really just keeps me full for a long time because it's so big. That's something that I do intentionally, just so I still have other calories throughout the day to make me full and satisfied. Another great lunch option is to use that low-calorie bread I mentioned earlier. I think the brand is like Sara Lee or something. And you can make a half sandwich or a sandwich out of that with, deli meat. And Costco has a really great light Swiss cheese called Jarlsberg. So you can really get creative there and using just a lighter bread option, a big salad, and still feel like you're getting quite a bit of food instead of, having a few bites of rice and then you're kind of done. You have to be a little bit intentional when calories are lower, just so you actually get some meals throughout your day. Let's see. Oh, one I threw in here on my spreadsheet is what I like to do when I'm working from home is I'll just do breakfast for lunch. I'll do, a big protein smoothie in the morning. Then I have cheesy eggs and spinach for lunch. So that's always a go-to of mine. Let's go into snacks a little bit that are, again, going to prioritize protein and then not have that much fat or carb, but can keep you going for a little while. So my top two when carbs are getting low are hard-boiled eggs and string cheese, because both are primarily fat and protein, which is what's going to help keep you full longer without devoting a ton of calories to one little snack. And you can even put this to the test. I have before, is I could have one hard-boiled egg and be satisfied for longer than if I had an entire bag of like pretzels, crackers, or an apple. Just because pretzels, crackers, apple are only carbohydrate, whereas you need the protein and a little bit of fat to actually keep your hunger under control for a longer period of time. So hard-boiled egg and string cheese are my goats. Those are the greatest of all time. My go-tos always when calories are lower. Other things you can do, I haven't seen it in my groceries around here, but I used to get this at the grocery in San Diego, is like a probiotic drink, a lot of kombucha drinks. You can find lower sugar ones that have a lower carb content, but Kavita had a probiotic drink, and the flavor was like lemon cayenne. And so since there was a little bit of heat to it, it had maybe, I think, 4 grams of carbs in the whole bottle. And because there was that little spice to it, it actually kind of curbed my hunger and actually kept me satisfied for a while. So a drink like that, or even just a carbonated beverage, a bubbly water, LaCroix. I think there's a new brand called Aha. I think those are the main ones right now. I'm sure I'm blanking and forgetting some great ones, but just anything with carbonation can help curb hunger as well. If you go for like the 0 calorie or diet option, they're not going to be eating up your calories. Where if calories are low, the last thing you want to do is drink, a large soda, a large lemonade, something that has a lot of calories that's a liquid, because those are considered empty calories, and then you're left with less calories to eat and you're hungry. So that's something definitely you'd want to be avoiding if calories are low. Let's see what else I have for snacks here. Oh, a small portion of nuts. A handful of nuts is not going to be low calorie, but even if you had, I'm not even kidding, like 10 almonds, that's enough to help curb hunger to get you in between meals without, eating, 30 grams of fat in one sitting. Or there's, I usually get these here in Tennessee. We have a store called Kroger. A lot of people have the Kroger grocery store. Out west, there wasn't Kroger, but it was called Ralph's. They carried the same brand. And it is a Carb Master yogurt. It has a lot of protein. Think like 1.5 grams of fat, and carbs are really low, and they have fun flavors. So those are always a staple of mine. And sometimes I'll mix them with just non-fat plain Greek yogurt to add some flavor in there. That's a great snack option. Again, pretty low calorie, but it actually tastes good. All these things that I'm talking about are things that I would eat or drink because I think they actually taste good. I am not a fan of just eating something because it's low calorie and you're on a diet. If you don't like it, find something else. There are way too many options out there to be eating things that you don't actually like. So that was some snacks. Let's go into dinner. I have a nice list here. I basically just went through my app on my phone, the MyFitnessPal, and was like, what have I been doing for dinner lately? Just so I can give you guys some tangible examples. So I'm going to read through my list here. So a big one that I like to do is chicken sausages, because my husband loves chicken sausages more so than just plain chicken. I could have chicken more often than not, but it's just not his favorite. So do chicken sausage, and one of my go-to recipes, I post it quite a bit, is cheesy cauliflower rice. I do have that in my feed. Just shoot me a DM if you need that recipe. It is a ton of cauliflower rice with Laughing Cow cheese. It is warm and gooey and delicious, and it really fits in well to a really low calorie day. And then, maybe hard sear some like zucchini and tomatoes on the stove and get a big meal out of that. So prioritizing vegetables, I have cheesy cauliflower rice and some zucchini and tomatoes, but it's a pretty high bulk, and it's not all leafy greens. If you just had nothing but leafy greens all day, you would get very, very bloated from all that fiber. Something else I like to do that's on the agenda for tonight is we are doing just seared chicken breast. And then I found green giant like cheddar broccoli tots, like tater tots. So I'll make those in the oven with a big salad. I just won't have, a huge pile of tater tots. I'll have just a handful, enough to make me satisfied, but still meet my goals. Another thing I'll do is, mahi-mahi fillets or tilapia, cod, like a whitefish with some roasted vegetables like asparagus or broccolini. And I'll put that a lot of times with that cheesy cauliflower rice. And then I'll have my like mashed potatoes or rice or something for my husband, because he is on his feet all day at work. So he needs more calories right now just to sustain, whereas I need less calories since I'm in a diet. Like I'm in a diet phase for fat loss. Let's see. Trader Joe's cauliflower gnocchi is a great one, especially those of you who are loving pasta. The cauliflower gnocchi is great. And I even just put even a fourth a cup of like Prego pasta sauce with that, or even just 1 tablespoon of a pesto. A little goes a long way with the pesto, and just be careful because those pasta sauces can be really heavy in carbohydrates, some also heavy in fat, and you don't want a ton of your calories going there since it doesn't really add much bulk to your diet. I'll throw some turkey meatballs in there or some seared shrimp if I'm going with pesto, put it with a salad, and it's actually a pretty good dinner. Something I actually posted last night from Trader Joe's, it's also in their frozen section. It's a like cheesy scallop mushroom thing. I don't know. It's really good. It's been in every Trader Joe's I've ever been to. And I just put the whole thing in a pot. It cooks in under 10 minutes. That's also a really, really low carbohydrate option. Good amount of protein. Fat can get a little higher on that one. So if you're on a lower fat diet, you probably just couldn't have that as often. Another dinner idea is just a really big salad topped with some seared salmon. Breakfast for dinner, because who doesn't love breakfast every meal of the day? Sometimes we'll do, pork chops with, roasted broccolini or Brussels sprouts, and then maybe make like a side salad or something else, or even making a meal out of spaghetti squash instead of actual noodles. So a lot of those are just ideas of meals that you can create around vegetables and lean protein that actually give you a solid meal instead of feeling like you get a fourth a cup of rice, a piece of meat this big, and then, like 3 asparagus spears. You need to actually have some sustenance in your meals to keep you satisfied between them, just so you can actually adhere to a diet. The best diet for you is one that you can stay on. Doesn't matter if you have the best diet in the world if you can't even adhere to it. So you need to put forth some effort to figure out kind of what food you like, what works for you, all that good stuff. So I did want to go into desserts here a little bit because y'all know I am Queen Sweet Tooth. And then if you guys have any questions, you can kind of throw them in the feed here. I don't think I've seen any come through specifically. So if you have any questions, go ahead and start putting them in the feed just so I don't miss them. But so basically for desserts, a little dark chocolate can go a long way. So even just getting some of those Dove dark chocolate squares, or some of them have almonds in them, putting those, just like having like 2 squares of dark chocolate sometimes is enough of like I got like some dessert tonight. Or I'll dip those in peanut butter. That's also a good dessert. My always go-to, this is going to surprise none of you, is a yogurt bowl. So I love to combine, non-fat Greek yogurt, just the plain. My favorite brand is Faye, just because it's kind of a cloudy, fluffy texture. I usually do, a half a cup of that, and then I'll blend that with either one of those Carb Master yogurts for some flavor that I mentioned earlier. Or there's another brand of yogurt called Too Good, TWO, good. They're in most just regular grocery stores. Again, really fun flavors. The coconut is fantastic. So I'll mix those together, maybe throw in some chia seeds or a little extra cashew milk, and then maybe a few chocolate chips or some blueberries. So when you're using that yogurt bowl base, that's why it's such a go-to of mine. If calories are lower, I'm going to maybe just top it with a couple berries, and that's about it. Or maybe a little bit of nut butter if I have some fat left over from the day. Whereas if you're not in a diet and you have a lot more calories to play with, I use that exact same yogurt bowl base, but then I'm topping it with granola and cereal and other things that have more calories to them. So I don't really have to change completely everything I'm eating. I just kind of change the toppings. And then a protein fluff, kind of how I talked about this more, or what I would do for breakfast, making in the blender, or a few ladies on here have some food processor ways to do it. You can easily go, dark chocolate, peanut butter flavors with that. So you feel like you're getting a nice dessert, but it's primarily protein with very little fat and carbohydrate. So there we've gone through breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, dessert, and it's a way to kind of just feel like you're eating normal people-sized meals throughout the entire day, but not, eating so many of your calories in one meal that the whole rest of the day you're having trouble focusing, really low energy. But kind of on that low energy, note is calories are a unit of energy. So it is normal on a diet to have less energy than when you are not dieting, because low calorie is low energy intake. So if you are on a diet, I really recommend prioritizing your sleep and making sure you have some rest days built into your training. Otherwise, you are going to break at some point. So you want to be smart about it, just so you can sustain the diet long enough to get the results you're working so hard for. And then you want to make sure you do have a transitional plan to get you from diet mode back to real life mode, so you don't put on all the weight you lost in the diet. After you put in all that effort, you want to make sure you keep all the fruits of your labor. So let's see, I think those were going to be the biggest ones that I was going to touch on. Do you guys have any questions? I don't see any coming through. And since you are watching my live, you get first dibs on this announcement. No one knows yet, but next week I have an email going out to subscribers only. So if you want this email, you are not an email subscriber, then you need to DM me so you can become one. Monday, I'm sending an email to email subscribers only for first dibs on a group challenge. This is something I've never done before, and it is going to be like a group challenge you have never seen. So if you need to be an email subscriber, if you're not already and you want that email, send me a DM, or DM me if you have any questions about what I covered here. If you need any help with anything, I'm really happy to weigh in on anything that you guys are working on. That is all I had for today. I'm going to try and save this as an IGTV, so wish me luck, and if not, good for you for catching it, and I will check in with you guys later. Hopefully you have a great rest of your day.